Hey, Jessica, what's up?
Hey, Dr. John, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you, lady?
Doing all right.
All right. So what's going on?
Yeah, so I am calling to get a little bit of insight into just kind of some personal struggles I'm having with my own body. So just to kind of give a little bit of context, I am a 30-year-old wife, mom. I have so many great things going in my life. I'm, married to an incredible guy. I have a beautiful 6-year-old daughter. But last December, I had a hysterectomy to cure a really painful condition that I had. And since the surgery, I'm really having a hard time like reconnecting to my own body and kind of just feeling like a stranger in the body that I live in. It's causing a lot of body dysmorphia, and it's just kind of seeped into like my own self-talk, my sex life with my husband, how I view my own body, all that kind of stuff. So just would love some insight on how to kind of get back to feeling at home in the body where I live.
Oh, man. What happened? What was the illness?
Yeah, so I had a condition called adenomyosis that was kind of aggravated by my super traumatic C-section pregnancy that I had with my daughter 6 years ago. So I've always had real painful periods. It got to a point, in the last year where it was like calling off work 3 or 4 days out of the month.
Yeah. Were they extended periods for longer than normal?
Yeah, definitely. It was more so like the level of pain that I was experiencing, less so than how long they were. But I know it was really hard for my family to watch me have to go through that every single month. And we knew our family was complete pretty much the day after I had my daughter, so that part wasn't as much of a concern. And I do feel better in terms of not having to deal with that anymore. But there's so much other baggage that's come with, like, I guess the mental side effects of this are a lot more than I think I was prepared to deal with.
Tell me about those.
So mainly, I don't know. It's hard to explain because I know for women, obviously, like those of us who have a uterus kind of understand what it feels like, but like there's a real deep kind of connection with like your cycle and how your body feels. And so when that organ is gone, there's little bits of, still pain and things. Like it's been, 8 months or so since my surgery, but I still get lots of like pulls and tugs, and it's harder to work out than it used to be. So, I had to obviously take a break off of really excessive movement when I was recovering. And so that set me back. So I've gained a little bit of weight.
Wait. What did it set you back from?
Oh, so I was on a major fitness journey over the last 6 years. I lost over 100 pounds after I had my daughter.
Awesome.
So I think, a handful of 10 to 12 pounds feels pretty massive to the point where like, I don't even want to let my husband see me naked, like kind of thing. And that's really never been an issue between he and I. So it's kind of driven a little bit of a wedge.
So what's underneath that? Because like I always want to take those feelings and challenge them. Is this story true? I've gained, I lost 100 pounds. I feel better than I've ever felt. I've got an amazing husband, as you said. I've wanted to be all over him as often as possible for as long as I've known him. And now my total weight loss is at 90 pounds because I put 10 back on after a major, after doctors took out an organ. And suddenly I am not attractive. So if we hold that story out, that story's not true.
Right.
What's underneath that story?
I think that there's a fear of returning to the life that I had before.
What was that life?
I was exhausted. I did not feel good.
Before what? The life what? Before you had your daughter?
Before the weight loss.
Okay.
And so I think, the fear, I don't know. I've always really struggled with body dysmorphia, and I think I was kind of
there we go.
Finally at a good place.
Well,
yeah.
Can we go down a rabbit hole real quick?
Please.
How long have you struggled with your weight?
Oh, forever. Like from high school.
What's the first memory you have?
First memory of in general, or of me dealing with
of knowing that other people don't think I'm beautiful?
Oh, gosh, early middle school at least.
Before
Yeah,
that,
I mean,
before that,
I don't know. Honestly, I struggle with childhood memories. Like I have a hard time recalling a lot.
you know what doesn't have has trouble recalling? Your nervous system. I call them GPS pins. Your body puts little GPS pins in memories that it says not safe, shut the system down, or speed the system up, or let's go haywire. Let's go to our comfort mechanisms because we can't handle what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a little mirror reflection of yourself walking around your house, and she's 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then your body goes, oh, crap, we remember this one.
Yeah.
Tell me about your baby girl.
She's incredible.
Tell me about her.
Yeah, she's going into kindergarten this year. She absolutely loves singing, dancing. She's the star of the show at every family function. She is super, super funny. She's very, I don't know. She just has a really great sense of sarcasm already at 6, which I think is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's pretty incredible.
Do you bask in it?
Yeah, I think so. I try to, take moments every day to really think about who we are that she's here.
Okay.
Her story coming into the world was a little nuts. So,
okay. What I've been told over the years when it comes to hysterectomies, and again, I never had one of those, right? I never had one. So, and particularly on the back of pretty rough menstrual cycles, is this constant, the phrase that was given to me is feeling like I'm being betrayed by my own body.
Mm-hmm.
I got tired of fighting myself.
Yeah.
And there is when you said the phrase, we knew our family was complete. That can sometimes be, and again, I'm not putting this into your life. I'm just speaking in generalities here. But that can be a intellectual exercise, but that might be different than the picture you've had stamped in your soul since you were young.
Absolutely. We definitely thought going into marriage we would have 3 or 4 kids.
Okay.
For sure.
There's something about the period at the end of the sentence, no pun intended, after hysterectomy. It's over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And there's a finality to it, an exhale. And then there's grief. And all grief is the gap between what we thought was going to be or what we wanted there to be and what actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us blow by it. And you put on top of that 100-pound weight loss. You experience the world, every bit of it differently. And you put on top of that, you have a 6-year-old little girl who's entering into the season that your body identifies as, oh man, we're about to be excluded and left out and less than starting now.
Oh, yeah. That's a big trigger for me when she tells me like kids on the playground don't want to play with her. Stuff like that. Any little moments like that is
your body sounds, the GPS pin starts flashing and your body sounds every alarm you got. And you're like, I'm going to go punch me a middle schooler. I'm going to go kick me a kindergarten kid. Right?
Yep.
So, and all that's happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And then if you're like me, you've got some wired deep into the system ways, default behaviors that make all that hurt go away.
100%.
And by the way, you've beat the crap out of yourself for your whole life for those behaviors. When actually they kept you safe, they kept you getting on to the next day, even though they were slowly killing you. Right? Some people it's food, some people it's alcohol, some people it's work, some people it's whatever. It's just they're all Xanax, right? They're all just numbing behaviors.
Yeah.
Have you sat down and told your husband, I'm embarrassed to take my shirt off in front of you?
Yeah, we've definitely, we have real open communication.
What'd he say?
It honestly hurts his feelings when I talk about myself like that.
Well, that's because he's a good man. He can make anything about him. Right?
Yeah, I think he mostly I'll point back to like, oh my gosh, look when I was this big, whatever. And he's like, hey, you don't talk about my wife like that. I loved you then. I love you now.
I love that. All right. Can you do me a favor?
He's awesome. Yeah.
I'm just going to, I'm in a clinical context, you and I could talk for weeks, and I bet you could. I get the sense that you are somebody who has become very skilled over the course of your life and making other people feel okay.
Oof, yep.
Okay. And so we could unwind that, but just me talking to you, I feel at peace. You have that gift.
Thank you.
But that gift has come at the expense of you.
Yeah.
That has been your way of protecting people or protecting yourself your whole life. Nobody look at me. Look how comfortable you feel.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, I've never had any, but I feel like you kind of just a spotlight on me in the back.
I didn't hear what did you just say? I missed what you just said.
No, it feels like it feels kind of like you put a spotlight on me when I'm trying to hide in the back. Like you kind of pinpointed my entire life story.
And you're able to leave a party, and everybody has a fond memory of how well they felt. They don't think of you, but also they didn't make fun of you.
Yep.
The only way forward is for you to be willing to be fully seen. And if you're like me, vulnerability is scary. All my alarms set off. And I am not a good judge of reality when my alarms are ringing.
Yeah, because even you saying that, my immediate inclination is just to be like, nope, don't like that.
I know you don't like it, but it's right. It's right. It's right. You know what I mean? So here's what I mean. I have to have a group of people. Here's a great example. Okay, a great example. The stock market had a bad day yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any stocks, by the way. I have like my 401s, my retirement plans, right? That's a roller coaster. I'm not going to cash them out for years, but I got them, right?
Right.
My buddy, who was my college roommate, and now he is my smart investor pro. He takes care of my investment stuff for me. He manages all that for me. He texted yesterday, and all he said was, Delony, don't do anything stupid. Right? And that is us being friends for about 30 years. And him knowing when John gets emotional, he does dumb things, right?
Right.
And so essentially, I've outsourced that logical thinking, that rational thinking, to somebody who can see it when I'm in a storm. And vice versa, he calls me when he's struggling with a relationship issue because I can see it. And so we have each other for those moments when our bodies sound all the alarms and it's very hard to do the next right thing. All that to say is, I want you to have a couple of people that you trust in the world. Your husband sounds like he's one of them. Sounds like he's a pretty amazing guy.
Yeah.
And when you feel not beautiful, when you feel less than, I want you to have the courage to say, honey, do I look okay in this shirt? And I want you all to have already discussed, not his, yes, but I just want you to come put your hands on my face and kiss me on the forehead. And whatever you all discuss, and tell him, when I ask that question, it's about me getting my footing back after there's some finality in my life now. At the same time, we got a little girl, and it's going to be chaotic for a while. And so, you have a couple of girlfriends that you trust?
I have many, yeah. I actually, my entire job is a women's empowerment group. We do, I've got like 300 women in Dayton that I talk to all the time. So.
Okay, but here's the thing. You have got to take care of yourself as much as you take care of those other women.
I know. I feel like a hypocrite sometimes.
Well, hey, welcome. This is the pot talking to the kettle.
Yeah.
I do too. That's why I've got to have a group of men that I call.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have a few really close, solid women in my life that I can reach out to for the real stuff.
Okay, you can, but you don't.
Rarely. Yeah, I'm usually kind of here for them to reach out to.
The path towards reconnecting with your body, and ultimately deeper than reconnecting with your body, is regaining a sense of self. One of the things we've gotten sideways in this culture is that you can have some sort of independent self separate from anything else. That is an ultimate, like, just stone lie. It's not true. It's impossible. You can only have a sense of self as it is reflected in relationship with others, period. End of story. We aren't designed to be selves. We're designed to be we're tribal creatures. That's what we are. What does that mean? You can only feel reconnected to self by standing before somebody and saying, this is all of me. Do you love me? And that's the thing that I think terrifies your soul more than anything else.
Absolutely.
So
because
much
what if
so,
the answer is no?
I mean, that's the ultimate fear, right?
Yeah.
But with your girlfriends, the answer is, yeah, we see you. We love you.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
The answer with your husband is, yeah, I see you. I've always seen you and I love you.
Mm-hmm.
But the only person who's not buying it right now is you.
Right.
Do you think you're worth being loved, Jessica?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I tell myself that I believe that I'm worth being loved.
Well, yeah, but we tell all kind of crap to people.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a harder question. Are you worth being loved if you gained back 40 of the 100 pounds?
That is a harder question.
Because the answer to that question is absolutely yes.
Yeah, I know that if you were asking me about does my daughter, if she gained weight when she was an adult, yeah, of course.
Would your husband still want to sleep with you if you gained 40 pounds and you were only down 60 pounds?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
You're like, I could, yeah, yes, he always wants to.
Yeah.
Like,
correct.
Like, you see what I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm.
The stories you're telling yourself are they're a composite of the stories your mom told you, the stories your dad didn't tell you. And if your dad didn't just drive you crazy with looking you in the eyes and telling you how beautiful you were growing up, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And the stories are a composite of what the boys that didn't ask you out and the ones that did, and the snickering and the jokes and the Instagram that you scroll. But here's the thing, all those stories mush together and they become the story you tell yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hell on earth, and there's some beauty there. Can I tell you what the beauty is?
Yeah.
You get to change the story.
That would be awesome.
It's just a choice, and I wish it was anything beyond that. I wish it could just be given to you. It can't be. You have to decide, I'm going to tell myself a different story. And that might mean I'm going to cut off some of the other stories. That might mean I'm going to write 13-year-old Jessica a letter and tell her I'm sorry what those people said to you. I'm sorry about the jokes. You're an amazing little girl. And
that would be a tough exercise to do, but
okay, good. You're going to write 3 letters.
Yeah.
You ready? You're going to write 3 of them. You're going to hate it.
Okay, I'm ready.
You're going to write one to 13-year-old Jessica.
Okay.
And I want you to be very specific. I'm sorry that you got boobs before everybody else did, or I'm sorry you didn't. I'm sorry that you started your period way before everybody, or you didn't. I'm sorry that mom said that. I want you to be very specific, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Letter number 2 is you're going to write a letter to 13-year-old, your daughter.
Mm.
And you're going to tell her how freaking amazing she is. And the things you began to do when she started kindergarten so that she could have a firm sense of anchoring. She could find herself because she was so anchored into a relationship with you and her dad.
Mm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
How old are you right now?
I'm 30.
You're going to write a letter to 35-year-old self as exercise number 3.
Okay.
And you're going to write 35-year-old Jessica a letter about what an amazing badass she's become. And it's not going to be hocus pocus vision board nonsense.
Right.
It's going to be, here's the stuff I began to do. I begin to write myself a note every morning. I begin to do 4 or 5 gratitude statements, and I wrote it in a journal, and I kept them for 5 years. So one day my daughter's going to read them, but it was me reminding myself, I'm a great wife. I'm a great mom. I lost 100 pounds. And then they took an organ out of my body, and I rested, for God's sake.
Right.
And you're going to turn off the crap that says after they take an organ out of your body, you have to get back on the assault bike the following morning. It's nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And I started seeing a therapist so I could get to the bottom of the body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
Because you can't cut food out of your life. You got to make peace with it. That's a different journey.
That is a whole journey.
It is.
For sure.
You see what I'm saying? But I want you to be very specific for 35-year-old Jessica about here's who we're becoming.
Yeah.
And
I want that not just for me, but like for my daughter, and to be able to kind of break that cycle of women, hating the body that they live in. We don't get another one, so
there you go.
I've got to figure out a way to love the one I have.
But it's not just about loving; it's about being a steward of.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's both and I wish it wasn't. I wish we could just yell things into the mirror.
Right.
It just doesn't work like that. I have to go do things differently also.
Yeah.
But they have to come from a place. It's the same. It's the thing Sal DiStefano of the Mind Pump guys told me one time. He said, John, if you go to the gym every day because you hate yourself and you think you look like crap, you will never have a successful relationship with exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, if you wake up every day and you're like, dude, I get 1 hour to myself because I'm John freaking Delony. He said, you'll do that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because it's a way of honoring yourself.
I think that's what's hard is that's where I used to be. And now it feels more the other way of going for a punishment versus
there you go.
Enjoyment.
Okay. Then you've pinpointed where your work is. You've pinpointed it. Shine a light on it. Shine a light on it. In that letter to Jessica, 35-year-old you, I want you to be very specific about the conversations that you begin to outsource to your husband for a season while you begin to recalibrate. Okay, my feelings aren't telling me the truth anymore. They're trying to keep me safe still. And they're trying to protect my 6-year-old daughter now, but they're not telling me the truth. So when my husband looked at me and said, my God, you're beautiful, I decided I'm going to believe him, even though it didn't feel, quote unquote, feel just right. And when I didn't, quote unquote, feel like exercising, I went ahead and did it anyway. I worked out. I did. And I followed a nutrition plan pretty closely, and I was healthy, and I worked with some professionals, and I got some help. And when my daughter made cookies, I had a bunch of them because I love my daughter. And I met with the same group of women over 5 years. We met every week, once a week, just to get together and do whatever. And it became a safe place for my body to exhale and know deep in my bones I am loved. I am seen and known and loved. Period. It's both and. Both and. Jessica, you're amazing. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Now we're going to take the next step and we're going to exhale. Not to get back what was. We're going to build something new. And here's the important exercise with writing the letter to 35-year-old you. It gets your head out of your belly button right now. It gets your head out of the immediate, and it looks up over the horizon and says, okay, the future's coming. I get to be a part of creating what this future looks like. I'm going to keep my eyes up, my head up. I'm going to throw my shoulders back, and I'm going to go make that happen. Thank you so much for being brave and calling, Jessica. I'm really grateful.